Geoffrey here. In this video, I'm going to show you what you can do when you're currently trying to reconcile your relationship, but you're struggling because you have very limited contact with your partner. So perhaps this limited contact is because of the fact that your partner has completely shut down and is shut down from talking about the relationship or talking to you about any deeper topics. It could be that you're separated and you're living in different homes now and you're not seeing each other that often anymore, and that's why you're struggling with this limited contact. Or it could be that you guys are still together, but you're struggling to have the courage to actually start the difficult conversations because you're afraid to rock the boat. Either way, be sure to stick around till the very end of this video because most of you going through this are going to feel quite hopeless about your situation. And I want to show you the key mindset shifts that all my students have mastered. And once they've mastered this, that's when they realize that this limited contact thing is really not an issue. It's really that they don't understand the right process to be able to take advantage and plant the right seeds despite the limited contact. And for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships and in marriages with the right skills, with the right mindsets to be able to design a thriving relationship for the long haul. So if you want more content on this topic, then subscribe to this channel and click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. Now, before I begin this video, I want to let you know that the registration for the masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up is still open. So if you want in on that masterclass, be sure to stick around till the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can get in on that. So the first thing I want you to do is to reframe your thinking on this whole topic entirely. I want you to realize here that the problem here is not your circumstance. It's not that you are separated, you have limited contact, or your partner is shutting you down, but really you don't understand the right process. And here's a quote that I want to start with, is that if you have the right process, you can thrive under any circumstance. The same way, if you have good skills in your job, you can work anywhere and be thriving anywhere you go. But if you have the wrong process, you're going to struggle no matter the circumstance. And most people don't understand this and they start to blame things outside their control for why they're facing the things they're facing. This in our program is what we call playing victim. So you might right now be blaming your partner and saying, oh, I can't reconcile because she wants a divorce. I can't reconcile because she's not willing to communicate with me. She's shutting down. She's not open to communication. She's stonewalling me. So you might blame the fact that you can't reconcile on your partner and her behaviors. You might even blame the bigger circumstance, the bigger scenario, like people say, oh, we have COVID now and we're very stressed out. We're living in 2 separate places and we can't create a great relationship as we're in 2 separate places. We have the limited contact, we're doing long distance, my partner's stonewalling you. I mean, you can name a slew of the things that people blame that is outside their control. Now, let me get this straight. You cannot reconcile your relationship not because of all these things that you're trying to blame. You cannot reconcile because you don't have the right process. You don't have the right process to improvise your approach so that you can communicate effectively through text messages, through the limited contact that you have, through phone calls, when you're long distance and so on. You don't have the right process to be able to plant the seeds despite the medium, despite how long distance you're doing. You don't have the right process to be able to break through her stonewalling, her gaslighting you, her resisting you, and just saying to you that she doesn't want to talk to you. You don't have the right process to be able to start and initiate conversations in a way that actually lets her guards down, that doesn't make her defensive, and that plants the right seeds each time. And you're struggling with the right process to predictably manufacture your success so that you know that you're planting the right seeds, even though you may be contacting each other for 5 minutes a week, it doesn't really matter. But the problem here again is not all these external circumstances, that you don't have the right process and a deep understanding of it to replicate success even in this limited contact. We know a lot of people, for example, they jump from job to job to job to job, from business to business to business to business, and they never succeed. And they're always picking something to blame. They're always saying, oh, it's this my boss's fault. It's this circumstance's fault. No, the truth is, if you understand the right process, if you have mastered whatever the mindsets and skills at whatever it is you do, you're going to thrive no matter where you go, no matter what business you start, no matter what company you work for. And in this case, if you have the right process, the right mindsets, and the right frameworks to be able to design a thriving relationship, you're going to thrive no matter what the circumstances. So never ever play victim here, and make sure that you are taking responsibility and seeing that the problem here is really you. You don't have the right process. And I also want you to understand that your lack of understanding of the process and your lack of mastery here is what caused the breakdown of your relationship in the first place, is what got you here in the first place. So you not being able to improvise and deal with the millions of iterations of conflicts, of conversations in the past is what got you here. You not being able to settle the misunderstandings and the conflicts, which are inevitable, by the way. The nature of two people being together is that there are going to be misunderstandings and conflicts. You not being able to turn those negatives into positives is what got you here in the first place. You not being able to start difficult topics and handle difficult topics in a relationship without getting the both of you upset is what got you here in the first place. So all these things that you're struggling with today, you're saying, oh, I can't talk to her despite the limited contact. No, the truth is you had these problems all along. You're just now picking something else to blame because there is something else to blame. But don't get it wrong, because at the end of the day, whether the problem is now or before, you're still struggling because you don't have the right process. And this is crucial to understand, because I want you to understand that when your partner is wanting space from you, this is a blessing in disguise, because this gives you time for actual real change. Because if you're still struggling to communicate with your partner despite the limited contact, if you think the limited contact is the problem, it's not the problem. It's that you really haven't changed. You might be changing by going to the gym, getting more buffed, losing weight, making more money. Those are not the changes we're talking about. What we're talking about are really the mindsets and the frameworks for you to be able to lead and design a great relationship. That's the betterment that we really care about. So I want you to see this as a blessing in disguise. The biggest shame that people make is when their partner wants space, they're so desperate to artificially manufacture a meeting. They go online and talk about, how can I get my partner to talk to me? How can I get my partner to open up to me? How can I increase the contact that I have with my partner? So they try to find ways to manufacture this contact, and they end up getting the contact. And when they get the contact, their partner realizes, dude, this guy hasn't really changed. She cannot see any changes in you, and that's a big shame, because you've just thrown away a big opportunity for you to show her your changes, the real changes, the changes that matter. But because you don't really understand what the changes are, what the process is, you got nothing to show. You just have scripts, you have certain lines here and there, but nothing major in terms of changes. That's the biggest shame. As we're talking about this process and learning the new process, what does it mean to grow the processes and to learn the processes and grow yourself in a genuine way? Again, it's not about working out. It's not about becoming this high value man, becoming more assured, becoming more alpha and manly, making more money, doing more chores around the house. All these tangible things you can think about are not what actually matters. So I'm going to put a link here on the top of my head on what does it actually mean to better yourself? What are the ways in which you can better yourself that actually counts beyond just working out and doing all this surface stuff? And if you watch that video, really the breakdown of what you need to learn are really three things. You need to learn the frameworks. And these frameworks are really about understanding how to improvise in your conversation, into your interaction, and dance around difficult conversations, dance around conversations where your partner is resisting you, shutting down, gaslighting, and so on. You need to be in mastery of this, and you need to be able to dance in these types of difficult conversations. And you also need to be able to communicate on a deeper emotional level during this time as well. And again, if you want a deeper understanding of these frameworks that I'm talking about, I want you to check out the links I have for you down below this video, in the description box below this video, for more videos on what this framework actually means. But really, when you master these frameworks, like all my students have mastered it, you literally can take every single negative thing in your relationship, every conflict, every misunderstanding, every time your partner shuts you down, into a positive. I want you to plant that seed and make it into a positive. And if you're thinking right now that that's not possible, well, it can't be 100%, then that's where your problem is. You need to aim higher what you can do. Because once you understand and master these frameworks, like our students have, this is not a question for you anymore. Manufacturing good relationships, manufacturing great conversations, and turning negative into positive is an exact science for my students. And it should be for you as well. You're not hoping that you can drive the conversation. You know you will. The same way, if you're really good at your job, you're not hoping that things will go well at work. You know it will go well at work, because if it doesn't, you know exactly how to turn it around so that it becomes good. So that certainty you have about your job, that confidence you have, that's also possible in a relationship, and I want you to get there. The second thing you need is develop great mindsets. And mindsets are all about understanding how to interpret the events around you in a way that keeps you calm, that allows you to take curveballs very well. So we talk a lot about being calm in relationships. A lot of people's approach to being calm is simply using their willpower. This is a bad game plan. If you use your willpower, it'll never work. And I'll show you a video up above my head here that shows you just how, if you're using your willpower to stay calm, you're doing it in all the wrong ways. If you want to stay calm in a permanent way, this is about changing the paradigms and changing the lens in which you look at your world, and being able to take curveballs that you get in your relationship and understanding how to deal with it and interpret it with poise. So to give you two simple examples of this, I want you to imagine your partner is shutting down on you. She says to you, I don't want to talk to you. I feel hopeless in this relationship. I feel terrible. Most of us are going to interpret that as, okay, if she says it's hopeless, then I feel hopeless too. I don't know why she doesn't want to talk. How can I reconcile the relationship if she doesn't want to talk? And you get all panicked, you get all angry, you get all fearful, you get all paranoid. And again, that starts with the way you interpreted it. But in my program, what I encourage my students to interpret this is, whenever your partner is telling you that she can't talk to you, that she's tried to talk to you, but there's really no point, that she feels hopeless, that's an opportunity. Because your partner telling you that, shutting you down, is actually an honest expression in itself. So instead of being all panicked and angry, what I want you to do is to stay calm with that different interpretation and say, this is an opportunity. She finally told me exactly how she feels, how hopeless she feels. This is a starting point. Thank her for it. Thank you for telling me that. So here you're basically using your mindsets to interpret this differently to make yourself more calm, and then using the frameworks to turn that negative into a positive and plant the right seeds. Do you see what I'm saying here? Another example of this. What happens if your partner is having an affair? And a lot of our students are dealing with this right now. So if your partner is having an affair, a lot of people will interpret that as, oh, once a cheater, always a cheater. I think this is over. She's crossed my line, she's crossed my boundaries, this is over. But in my program, the reason why a lot of my students are able to reconcile the relationship despite the affairs and despite there being other people in the relationship is because they have a different paradigm. If they discover that their partner's having an affair, this is time for you to lean in and say, okay, great. Now I'm in a position of more power because I actually know that she's having an affair. And now that I know that, it gives me a better understanding of what I need to do next so that I can reconcile this relationship and identify basically what is missing from her side and bridge that gap. So while most people would treat knowing about the affair as a threat, I want you to interpret knowing about the affair as an opportunity. And these are just two examples of different interpretations that I want you to be able to make. Growing yourself is adopting new paradigms and new mindsets like this, and new ways of looking at the world beyond just these two. I want you to keep adopting more and more of this and more ways for you to look at your life and your relationship in healthier ways so you can stay calm, so that you can play out the right frameworks again. Then we also talked about the third layer of development and change that is really crucial is what we call identity shifting. So to illustrate this, I want you to imagine someone is mowing your lawn. They're mowing your lawn as a favor to you. You ask them, do you want to get paid? They say, no, I don't want to get paid. So you say, okay, great, mow my lawn. And so they're mowing your lawn, and as you're looking out the window, you think, this guy is miserable. I can see in his face he's quite miserable right now. He's not enjoying mowing my lawn. Instantly in your head, you're gonna go, thanks for mowing my lawn, but I would rather not. If you're really not having a good time doing this, I would rather you not do this. So again, the biggest problem with a lot of people as they're trying to salvage their relationship is that, yes, they're saying the right things, yes, they're doing the right things, but they feel miserable every single day doing it. They feel like every single day that they're reconciling the relationship is like a chore. So I want you to get out of the bubble that a lot of people are in. What a lot of people are in are, they define themselves as, this is who I am, who I'm not. What I can, what I can't do. What I like, what I don't like to do. And the truth is, if you want to salvage your relationship, you need to be someone different than who you are. You need to go outside your bubble. But if you're stuck in your bubble, This is why the process of reconciling the relationship is a chore to you every day. It's exhausting to you. It feels like it's not you. It feels very difficult. And if your partner can sense that this journey of staying calm and having difficult conversations is actually difficult for you, that's when she can no longer trust that your changes are real and permanent, because how can it be permanent if you actually hate doing it? And that's when she also knows that whatever you're doing right now comes with a certain expectation from her. Because the only reason why you're willing to go through all this hardship and push yourself, even though you hate it, is because you definitely want something from her. The same way, when you're looking at the guy mowing your lawn, you ask him, do you want to get paid? He says no, but you can tell he's miserable mowing your lawn. You know that guy wants something from you sometime or another. Same thing here. Same thing in relationships. So as long as you feel miserable and every day is like a chore, then it'll be very, very difficult for anything you do to become genuine, to become real and genuine. But once you become a shapeless character and shift your identity to a person where you can actually like the process of reconciling, of dealing with resistance, turning negative into positive, of staying calm, then that's when everything you do will become a lot more real, a lot more powerful, a lot more genuine, and a lot more effective as well. So those are the 3 levels of change that I want you to understand that are very, very important. And it goes beyond just working out and becoming a high value man. This is actually understanding the internal mindset shifts and understanding the framework so you can actually become a high value man. And if you have all 3 levels of change here, it doesn't matter how limited your contact is. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Your changes will be so extremely apparent. It'll be night and day. You don't need to keep thinking about all these tactics of how do I manufacture a meeting. You don't need to do that anymore. She will see your changes, and their changes will be very, very apparent every single time she meets you or she talks to you or even interacts with you in a very limited way. Your changes will be so dramatic that you will have no choice but to radiate it. That's the whole point. And understand also that in relationships, there's such thing as a transitive property as well. So you don't always have to talk about the relationship, the difficult stuff, in order for you to reconcile. She needs to see the changes in your process, the changes in the way you think, in the way you do things, in the way you handle conversations, in the way you handle yourself, her, and the relationship. And she can see that in conversations beyond just talking about the relationship. She can see that in the way you handle your kids. She can see that in the way you talk to her in the small talk kind of conversations. She can see that in so many different ways than just about the relationship. So really, if you just have any contact with your partner and you're saying to me you can't plant seeds, then it's really not that you have the limited contact, it's that you haven't had the right process. Because that limited contact should be enough to show your very apparent changes in the way you think, in the way you act. And the other thing that I can give you here is that in this limited contact that you have, something that's useful to do is to learn to not only plant seeds, but polarize the enemy as well. So as you've changed, as you've experienced genuine change in your life, as you change your behavior, I want you to make this more apparent in your partner's eyes that this is a change that you're seeing. So sometimes, unless we call it out explicitly to our partner, but in a gentle way, of course, she might not ever see that you've changed. So one thing you can say or try, for example, is, if you change your behavior, let's say you're trying to ask more questions. You could frame you asking more questions by caveating with, hey, I know in the past, I really wasn't good at asking questions. And I think because of that, I really didn't understand what you were saying. I was really a bad listener. And as part of my new me, I'm trying to listen better and ask you more questions. So this is you basically polarizing of who you were before and who you are now, and making it very, very clear to your partner that this is a different you. And this, when you can understand the process and you use this as well, this adds fuel to your fire. But again, don't mistake this for a script. Don't take this thing that I said and say, I'm going to say that now. Because if you haven't made the genuine changes in yourself, then you can add more fuel to this thing, but if there's no fire, it doesn't matter. You need to have those 3 levels of genuine change and then add fuel to the fire by saying this stuff later on. And when you have the right mindset, when you have the right framework, you have real self-esteem. And self-esteem in our definition is really made up of 2 things. One is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is all about your confidence in your ability to get something done, to accomplish something, So when you go to work, for example, and you say to yourself, I don't care what curveballs come my way. I know I have the ability to be able to take the curveballs, the challenges, the problems, and turn that from negative into positive. I understand my craft enough. That's self-efficacy. Your ability, your confidence in your ability to do and get something done, to accomplish something. But that's not all when it comes to self-esteem. The other part is self-worth. Self-worth is all about your ability to see the world in the right paradigms that makes you feel confident, that makes you feel good about yourself. So in this world, when you read books like How to Be a High Value Man, The Art of Not Giving an F, or No More Mr. Nice Guy, all those books are really about teaching you how to have more self-worth. But honestly, if you don't have the self-efficacy to back it up, the frameworks, the confidence, then you can never be confident. You can never have high self-esteem. And conversely as well, there's a lot of people who are very good at what they do. They understand their craft, but they never go for that promotion. They never go for those big opportunities. Why? Because they're not worthy. They don't feel like they're worthy. You need to have both. And when you have the right mindset, that's self-worth. That's building your self-worth. If you have the right frameworks, that's building your self-efficacy. And the reason why I'm saying this is that once you learn the right mindsets and the right frameworks, then that's when you will feel so confident in yourself. And your sense of being a high value man now is not just because you're thinking you're a high value man, but because you know you've become and genuinely become that high value man. And this is when you can let this fuel your courage. You can let this fuel your courage to start the difficult conversations. Even in the limited contact you have, I want you to be able to start difficult conversations. I want you to be able to use this confidence to battle through the resistance that your partner has, which is quite inevitable, actually. And you can use this courage to basically thrive no matter what circumstance you're in. So again, going back to the main premise here of, let's say you're finding yourself having very limited contact because your partner wants to have separated from you, your partner is shutting you down, or because you're afraid to basically start conversations with your partner, the difficult ones. The problem is not the circumstance. The problem is your process. But once you learn the process, this separation is not an issue anymore. You can build and plant seeds even with the small little level of contact you have. You can plant seeds and turn the negative into positive every single time your partner is resisting you, shutting down on you, and so on. And you can also have the courage to actually start the difficult conversations and make use of the limited contact that you have and put it to better use rather than cowering away from it and not taking those opportunities when you actually had them. Now, there's so much more to understanding the 3 levels of change that we discussed earlier here. And in our program, we have over 50 hours of material dedicated to just giving you this transformation in a deeper way. So if you want to learn more about that, I want you to join my masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In this masterclass, I'll show you the exact process that all my students have used to rebuild their relationship from the point of near divorce and near separation, pure hopelessness, to the point where it can thrive. And the way they do this is by making themselves a leader first, with the right mindsets, with the right frameworks, so they can lead the relationship by themselves without their partner's help often, to a point where it can thrive. And at the end of this masterclass, you'll also have the opportunity to apply, to submit your application for the Relationships Revival Program, where I'll take you step by step in allowing you to adopt these mindsets and frameworks so you can become a better leader. And it really doesn't matter how hopeless you think your situation is. It really doesn't matter how stubborn or how difficult you think your situation is. We've worked with instances where it was utterly hopeless and we were able to transform our students in such a big way that their partner cannot help but notice. So if this is something you want to explore, then I want you to click the link above my head to sign up for the masterclass, or you can check out the links down below this video as well. And if you're looking for a guide that can help you lead conversations better in your relationship, conversations that actually lead to more openness, more understanding, and healing of the relationship, then I also want you to download the guide I have for you up above my head, or also down below this video as well. And if you want to join a community of people where you can ask your questions and get answers from the community or myself on those questions, then I want you to click the link down below this video to join my Facebook group. In the meantime, do leave a comment below with what you thought was valuable in this video, what we thought was eye-opening. I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video and found it to be valuable, click the like button and also subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. For now, I'll leave you with just 2 other videos that can teach you more mindsets and more frameworks to be able to design a thriving relationship for yourself. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.